Okay, I'm working. Turn around here. All right, looking good. Cut. 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 Well, they're definitely moving faster. A lot harder to keep up with. Cut. 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 Turn it around.
Turning around?
Yeah, cut. Yeah, see, oh, cut on the right. There we go. Cut. 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 We'll go along the shore here, and I think we'll be able to catch up to them. Cut. Cut. Yeah, they're moving along pretty good. Cut. 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 Wow, you guys are significantly faster because we can hardly catch up with you. So whatever you're doing, keep it up.
How's the form looking out each day?
Good. Everything. From what I can see, I'll kind of look closer here, but I think we talked about this before. Is that you're better off with a little bit of bad form or not in sync, than tipping over. So you got to think when you're in the middle of a lake that's 3 times this wide, you really want to have that emergency brace. So, and this is what it is. If you look on the video, people were grabbing a hold of the side.
Yeah.
When the last guys that were going over could have thrown themselves. I don't know if you saw my brother in that, how not the paddle working here, but the third flip, my brother actually threw himself on your side, and everybody else fell out. Me and my brother stayed in. So,
Yeah.
But that takes lots of practice, and you got to fight instinct. Because instinct is to grab a hold of the boat or the seat. But what you want to do is somehow, again, you can either brace on the side that it's tipping, or in extreme cases, throw yourself to the opposite side, and you might save the boat from completely going over. But so that's something to think about. Anytime, so many times a big boat goes by, huge waves, think about, especially the guys in the middle, because they can probably have the most stability effect, right? Since you're like Serge, it's better for you to stop paddling and do what you're doing and let the rest of the team go when you see some huge wave coming. Now, it might be perfectly flat. Some years, you don't get any waves, but as Dan could say, like Racket Lake and Long Lake, the wind could pick up and you could have some pretty good rollers, yeah. No, I can't, but other than that, just keep that in mind, better be safe than sorry. If you feel like something's unstable, just throw your paddle like this and you'll be glad you did. So, I mean, you guys made it out last year without tipping over, so
a couple close calls.
A couple close calls, yeah. But how do you feel? What do you think your heart rate's doing? You think it's like that stretch right there? Do you think you want to be about, if you had your heart rate, and when if you know your heart rate, you should be around 160, pretty much. Except when you want to sprint, you might want to go higher, but in a 6-hour race, you want to be between 130 and 160. So I don't know if any of you have a heart monitor, but maybe next week you can give a Fitbit or anybody. No? Okay.
Yeah, all at Resel.
Yeah, so maybe just get an idea what your heart rate is, and kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
But if you're paddling at 160, you're not going to last 2 hours tops. You'll be done. Your body can't recover at 160, but it can paddle forever at like 140, 150. So just think that's another thing if you want to think about. But well, me and Dan are probably about both 180, trying to keep up with you guys.
All right, Dan, you want to go sprint? Yeah, watch us on this. We were working on this. You weren't here.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
You ready? Yeah.
Yeah, that looked great. So as these guys know, there's quite a dynamic when you're around other boats. And like at the start, you're better off probably starting at the far left or the far right, so you don't have boats on either side.
Yep.
That way it's, one less thing you have to be concerned about. But so on the starting line, like I said, I'd kind of give the next boat, a good 20 feet. Now I wouldn't crowd them like this, just because you don't want that extra complication. And strategically, I don't think that's really a big factor. I pick the deepest side. It's going to be on the lake almost every time, so it really doesn't matter whether you're in the middle or on the side. On the second day, you'll know who you're racing against. So ideally, you want to start next to your team you're competing with the next 2 days. You know what I mean? Just so you can hang with them. and make sure that, because you're going to want to set realistic goals. You know, and you won't know until after an hour into the race probably how you really are standing. But I can tell from now, and Wyatt, you probably feel the same way. You're going to be significantly faster.
I think hopefully on the first day we're like a half hour at least.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But it's all, of course, it's all relative to the other team that's with you. So it's hard to tell. But that's what makes competition exciting. You know, it's using your brain and not just your body. You know, and so we can talk a little more about strategy. But I think for the most part, the best strategy is don't kill yourself on the first 5 hours of the 6-hour day, because a lot can be said about being strong in the last hour. You could pick off a couple places if the other teams are shot. You know, and it's amazing how slow you can go when you don't have any energy. You know, and that's why you want to eat along the way. Now I've got some stuff on order, but like when you're doing your long practice tomorrow, you said, or okay. So make sure everybody's got, there should be at least, a banana per person, a power bar per person. And after, an hour, make sure you eat something, a half a power bar, and just get used to refueling yourself. Because you're not really refueling yourself for that hour, you're refueling yourself for the next hour. So it's like you want to drink when you're not thirsty and eat when you're not hungry. That's kind of if you wait till you're hungry or thirsty, your body's going to take 10 minutes to respond to your hydration. So, and that's using your brain, right? Other teams that aren't experienced are just going to paddle their brains out for their first hour, and they're going to say, "Man, I don't feel so good." So, it'd be fun. Trying to think. Just think about your body motion. Think about starting with your body slightly forward and twisted and ending back. I can't sure if I know who. Maybe there was a couple. I noticed on the video. Actually, whoever's in front of maybe what's your name?
Evan. On the first video. Yeah.
Okay, it's almost like Serge had the correct motion, forward and back. Maybe a little more than he needed, and you had the other thing going.
We're gonna paddle forward here, left side. Paddle forward a little bit.
Oh yeah, watch out. And you were sort of going like my tendency.
Oh, that's good.
You tend to go up like this, and then when you paddle, you go forward. So the two of you exaggerated your motion because your heads are going opposite. So what you want to do is, when you start your stroke, you should be slightly forward, and when you're paddling, you should be straightening up, kind of like a rower. Right? You see these rowing machines. You want to do this. Imagine if a rower went like this all the time. That wouldn't be. It would look good maybe, but you want forward and then pull back. Forward. Think about that. It's just a minor adjustment, and I keep falling back to this. This is the ranking, and I go up like this. If I'm not watching, I go like that, and I gotta say, no, it's forward, back. So I have to correct myself like every 5 minutes in a race, or I do all kinds of weird stuff. I get bad habits I fall into. So slight adjustments. Think about that. Breathing. Remember, I'm sure when you're sprinting here, do you think about breathing? If you feel like you're getting weak or sore, it's probably breathing. But no, everything is good. I'm going to, hopefully after we're done, I'll put the handles on, and maybe you guys can, think about cordage with those straps rather than just at the ends.
That'll be all
and how the wheels, at the end of the van or something?
No, we didn't bring them up yet.
So maybe next week we can spend a couple practices. Or I don't know when you want to do it. But.
We'll bring them up next week then.
So, because you're going to have to get maybe Serge and, what's your name again? Evan. Serge, Evan. Okay. Serge and Evan will probably be the guys that you put them in charge of the wheels, right? Since you're in the middle, you'll grab the wheels while these guys are lifting the boat. You put the wheels underneath and strap them or whatever, or point somebody else. You sort of have to have a plan on how you get those wheels on the boat. And we probably ought to take a look at those wheels, make sure they're in good shape, make sure you don't have to replace the tires or tubes or something. But no, I think things are shaking up. So Dan, are you going to be okay in the bow, or you think you're going to switch off with somebody, or don't you know?
I think I'm good.
Think you're good? Yeah. One thing for a long race, I don't know if you did it or not, but Andy ointment is probably a good idea. Like, especially anybody that's rubbing the side, that little lubrication, that diaper rash stuff. I know it's slimy and greasy, but it'll protect your skin from abrasion, and you know, especially if you're kind of pinched, you're glad you're lubricated a little bit. And then you have to decide. I mean, Wyatt knows you're going to have to pee at some point, so either do it at a portage, you know, jump in the water maybe before the portage or after. You know, it's easy to pee when you're in the water, but when you're all stressed and paddling, sometimes it's hard to jump out while you're portaging and run off to a tree, and it's like you can't go. You know? But the water, it naturally will help you pee. So I'm just thinking probably most of the time look for an opportunity to jump in the water, pee quick, and you'll get cooled off. You rinse off the sweat. It always feels good to get cooled off. But you don't want to have a bladder full paddling, because that's, you know, it's uncomfortable. So, and if you have to, you can work it over the side. You know, just make sure it's not too windy.
I'll stay with this side.
Now there's some females paddling, so you know, be modest. You know. Yeah, make sure you look before you let it all hang out. So, just want to keep you from getting in trouble. You know, 30 years ago it wasn't a big deal, but today you'll be on Megan's list or something. And, yeah. No, I think you gotta just do what you're doing. Just keep working on switching. How do the foot braces feel? You definitely don't want to. You want them kind of. You just do them kind of loose. They shouldn't be super tight, like cutting off your circulation. They should just be there to kind of help keep things in place. Now, what about footwear? Were you guys gonna wear sneakers? You know? Okay.
Yeah. Sneakers and wool socks.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, these are kind of what I use because they're narrow and you can stick them in the bow. But yeah, anything, and you want to make sure your shoelaces are double knotted, right? You don't want to cut off circulation, but the main thing is make sure they don't come untied, you know. And make sure the laces aren't too crazy. One time we actually had a log jam. We dumped out at Cooperstown, and I had a big long loop, and we had to duck under some branches, but well, anyway, my loop got hold of a branch. I couldn't pull my foot up, so I had to go underwater. So make sure you don't have any hazards. Maybe even tuck the loop underneath, because you don't want to jump out and have something snag you. So little things like that can make all the difference. You need to Wyatt and Dan. You've been telling these guys about, like, some of the portages are just like goat paths. You know, you're not going to use the wheels. You're just going to carry it. It's just not worth it, you know.
Well, you've been talking about, like, depending on certain days, maybe not even taking the wheels.
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually.
I think day 2, maybe.
So day 2 is from Long Lake, Racket. Well,
You gotta go around. So you're gonna just carry it over Racket Falls, right?
you remember Racket Falls? That's the longest one, isn't it?
Yep.
Racket Falls portage is up
Yeah.
and down. I'm trying to think if I remember using it much.
We pretty much carried that.
Even the downhill? I thought the downhill stretch had some flat.
It's like,
It's still a lot of stream, or, you know, yeah. I'm trying to remember if we ever put our wheels on. We probably did, but we probably carried it 2/3 of the way. Well, you don't have to put, yeah, let's put it this way. Racket River, definitely not at the beginning. I don't think you can use it.
and we'll have the handles, or we can go over our head.
But you'll have the wheel. Well, you're saying you're not even going to take the wheels, yeah.
I know day 1 we definitely want the wheels.
Yeah. You might want to get some advice. Look what the other teams are doing on day 2. You know what I mean? I mean, they'll probably open some of the teams. You're not going to have any secrets, so you might want to find out what the more experienced teams are going to do on the portaging. But certainly the wheels are an extra, 20 pounds that you don't need to carry. But when I did, I think we carried ours all 3 days. So I just can't remember what the was. Yeah.
They may not have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the ones that I know they didn't fit quite well. We had to adjust them last year. Yeah, I mean, you guys got 90% of the work is done. All you gotta do is tune it up.